my boss not paying me enough money, it's not giving me enough recognition, I deserve more in my life. So then, before I started becoming an entrepreneur, I was working like everybody else, and I hated my job at a time, I hated my boss at a time, I hated my life at a time. I was completely depressed. I was in a point where I was totally unsatisfied with every single thing, and I was miserable to the point that I told myself I had to quit my job and went out there and took ownership of it. I told myself, my boss not paying me enough money, it's not giving me enough recognition, I deserve more in my life. So there I was, I quit my job and I went straight out there and did my own business. It was exciting for the first 3 months. I was in love, I was flying here and there. Even though I was not making enough of that money, I was running full force. And then until the third month, what happened in the third month? I had started getting customers call back and complaining about me. I had a person want to get a refund in my business, and I realized there and then that my business wasn't doing too well. I was in my car at the point when I got that phone call. I stopped the car at the time and I was super angry, miserable, frustrated, stressed out. I felt like blaming somebody. I felt like pointing a finger at somebody. And there and then in my life, I knew at that point I couldn't, because the person who sold them the product was me. The person who delivered the product was me. The person who actually didn't give enough attention to my customers was also me, and I couldn't blame anybody else. And there and then I stopped and I realized that the reason why I was miserable in my job back 3 months ago wasn't because of my boss, wasn't because of my job. It was because they were giving me the convenience of blaming somebody else in my life for the shit I had. I just realized it wasn't them that was the problem, it was me. And when I stopped doing that and when I went to my business, I realized when there's nobody else to blame, there's nothing else for me to hide around, that I was the shit and that I had to fix myself. And by doing that, and only by doing that, could my business and myself grow. This is the reason why I always encourage people to go out there and do something on their own, or do something they love. Because when you are so focused in doing things like this, you start to realize, when you start to take ownership of your life and you don't give blame, excuse, and denial on anybody else or anyone else, you start to realize the best of yourself. So I hope this video helps, and for all those aspiring entrepreneurs out there, may you take control of your life and fly.